If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change.
There is this belief that's like, okay, I can't, for me to stick out an eighth of an inch, I don't want to because my work isn't as good. I don't have as much experience. Ryan has this really cool studio in Detroit. I don't have a studio. He's got employees. I don't have a staff. It's just me, right? So there are all these beliefs that stop people from wanting to stick out because they don't think that they have, at the end of the day, what it takes.
When's the last time you got in an elevator and said hello to people? Do you know the name of your postman? If you go to Starbucks, do you know the barista's name? All you got to do is change the way you look at things, and people start looking at you differently.
On episode 407 of the podcast, we talk about how to stand out from the crowd and land dream clients. And here's a little hint. It involves sticking out an eighth of an inch. More as you listen to the episode. We also talk about why success is a choice, not chance, and how to shift your mindset to achieve what you want. And then we cover the power of gratitude and how it can transform your life and business. This is an episode you do not want to miss. Here we go. What's up, friend? You are in for a treat. I am very excited about my guest for this episode and just the wisdom, the sage advice, and the passion. This is going to be awesome. So buckle your seatbelts. And before we jump in, just a quick intro. I'm Ryan from the Grow Your Video Business show. Yeah, that's what this is. I'm grateful to have you as my guest today. And I hope that you are prepared. Errol brings a ton of experience and wisdom, and it's just really next level stuff. Wherever you're at in your video business journey, if you feel like you could benefit from being a part of a smaller group, we have this thing called a masterclass, and it is 12 people big, up to 12 people in each masterclass. Mastermind. I said master. Did I say masterclass? Mastermind. Up to 12 people in each mastermind group, and we meet twice a month. And each time that we meet, we go over. 2 people are on the hot seat and can share, ask questions, whatever they need, however they can best be served by the group. And it is a powerful, powerful thing. If you've never been a part of a mastermind or never have been in a small group format like that, it can change your business. It can change your life. And we are now taking applications for our next mastermind, which will launch at the beginning of January. So I know we're a little ways out from January, but we're taking applications now. We'll do interviews and get all ready for 2025 Mastermind. And we'll do a retreat toward the beginning of the year. It'll be really, really cool. So check it out. You can go to studiosherpas.com/mastermind to get all the details on the mastermind. Why not? This could be your year, okay? I've been talking about it for a while. I've been talking about it for a while, but maybe it's time for you to jump in. Speaking of jumping in, let's jump into today's episode.
What's up, friends? Welcome to another episode of the podcast. Today, my guest is Errol Gerson, who is professor at Art Center and management coach and consultant. The dude's been doing some incredible work for a long time. Errol, I'm so pumped that you are here. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Ryan. It's a pleasure and an honor for me to be with you and to share some things that I've learned in the last 54 years of teaching roughly 6,000 students at Art Center.
Oh my goodness. So what is the heartbeat behind the work that you do? Like the work that you're doing, what makes you come alive?
That's very simple, Ryan. If you scratch me, I'm an accountant. I went to University of Southern California, got an undergrad in accounting, got an MBA in finance, and then I did work to get a master's in taxation. So you scratch me, I'm all business. The other side of me is the kid who used to play in a rock and roll band in South Africa, which is where I was born. So there's a right side of my brain that continually fights with the left side. And so what I found is I have this ability to help right brain people understand the concept of how to become successful in their venture. And I do it because I completely understand them. And so I was invited to teach at Art Center by my professor in grad school, who told me the students couldn't stand him. So he said to me, if you go teach my class, I will let you not write the thesis for this class. I'm all about it. So I went to Art Center about 2 hours early, and there were only 400 students at the time. Today, 2,200.
Oh, man.
I talked to 50 people, and finally I found 3 who were his students. And I asked him, how do you like your business management class? He said, I love it. I sleep for 2 hours. It's boring. I said, why is it boring? He said he reads from a management book. And I said, so what do you do for a living? And one kid said, I'm a photographer. Another one, I'm a director. Another one, I'm a product designer. And I said, what do you want to know? We want to know how to succeed. We want to know what are the pitfalls of business. I said, come to class today. It's a new day. And that, my friend, was 53 years ago.
Oh, my goodness. And so how old are you? You're like 65 years old? Started teaching when you were 4?
I will be 80 next birthday.
Oh, that's incredible. That is amazing. I think you're the most experienced guest I've ever had on this show.
Maybe the oldest.
Oh, that's good. So take me back to that day when these 3 people are telling you and you're, thinking through, okay, pitfalls of business. Like what was that day like for you?
Well, going to talk to them was the most critical thing that anybody should do when trying to break into something, which is understand the audience. So I meant to understand the audience.
It's good.
And when I walked into class, there were 27 people, but Ryan, I already had 3 friends.
Yeah.
So I directed my conversation at the 3 of them and brought in the rest of the audience. And what I did was I posed a number of questions to them. And they all sort of stared at me with blank stares. And I said, if I can teach you that, is that what you're looking for? Mm-hmm. And of course, everybody, gave me the 2 fists up.
Yeah.
And so that's exactly what I've been doing. And somebody asked me the other day, when are you going to quit? And the answer is, when I fall out of love with sharing with people how to succeed. And the chances of that happening are 0.
Oh, that's awesome. So then tell me, like, what are some of those things that you would teach somebody that's in a position like that? Because I would say for most creatives, like similar to what you were saying, most creatives are like, this is hard. I just want to do my art or my craft, learning how to run and scale and grow and hire and, just all of these things. It sounds like too much work. Like I thrive over here when I'm creating or making or building this, but to actually build a business, like gross.
Terrific response. And what if I were to tell you that I'm going to create for you in this class a manual? All you got to do is write it down. And I'm going to give you step by step how to take the right side and the left side and merge them together based on one simple concept. And everybody looked at me and I said, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. There was deathly silence. I said, I'm going to say it again. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. So I turned to one young man. I said, what's your major? He said, photography. I said, name for me 3 great photographers who you have profound respect for. And he named them, and they were, the who's who in photography, Art Kane, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, why do you respect and admire these people? Oh, because look at their careers. I said, and their career is based on what?
Yeah.
Oh, it's based on the photographs.
Yeah.
I said, you didn't finish the sentence. He said, what do you mean? I said, you can take pictures all day long, but if you're the best kept secret, how's anybody going to find you? So he said, well, do you mean what did they have to do, in order to get clients? I said, yes. He said, I have no idea. I said, okay. Do you know the names of any competitions in photography? He said, of course. There's one for the Friends of Photography. There's one for the AAPA, ASMP, etc. I said, so what if you were to enter that competition? He said, but I'm not good enough. And I said, really? Who told you that? He said, I told me. I said, bring your portfolio after class. He brought the portfolio, fashion photographer. It was stunning.
Yeah.
Stunning. So I helped him enter the competition. Guess what, Ryan?
Nice.
He won. He got flown to Denver, all expenses paid, to a black tie dinner attended by art directors from all over the country, and he came back to Art Center with 5 professional jobs and offers to work.
Oh.
You see, my friend, we make our own luck. So, it happened. Now, 10 years later, I have an illustrator, and she comes to me and says, I have bad news. I said, oh, what's the news? She said, I'm dropping out of school. I said, what term are you? She said, 8th term. I said, you're dropping out, about to graduate. She said, I don't have the money, and the CFO came, and he said, if I don't pay, I have to get out. It's okay. Next time he comes to you, tell him to come see me, okay? So she showed me her work, and it was beautiful. She painted animals. I was having my daughter learn to ride horses at a very exclusive riding club in LA.
Yeah.
So I told this girl, you meet me Sunday at 8 o'clock. You bring this half-painted picture of a horse, your easel, and your oils. She said, why? I said, just do it. Sunday morning, she arrives. I set her up where I know that all the people who arrive come with their horses and walk towards the paddock for their lessons. And I said, now, start painting. She said, why? I said, because somebody is going to stop and talk to you and ask you if you could do a commission. She goes,
Right.
Never happened. Ryan, an hour later, she comes running to me. This lady came, loved my horse, and asked me if I could paint her daughter on a horse, and she wants to know how much. I said, what did you tell her? She said, I have to talk to my professor because he's sitting there. I said, okay, what do you want to charge her? She said, I don't know, $100. I said, I'll kill you right here. You tell her $700 for one sitting, $1,500 for two. She went back. The woman said, okay, but I'd like to change it. I want both my kids.
Oh.
She came home that day with $7,000 in commissions. And she went on to be one of the most successful illustrators in the country, working with pet food companies. And we're still in touch to this day.
Oh, my goodness. That is amazing.
What do you want me to tell you, my friend? It's not hard. Life is not hard. We make it hard.
Yeah.
All you got to do is be willing to put yourself in front of the success train. Let it go through you. Now, I know many of your listeners are in the video business, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So at Art Center, we have a the sixth rated film department in the United States.
Yeah,
And
well.
I had a kid who was in the DP track, director of photography.
Yeah.
And he heard my lecture about sticking out an eighth of an inch, which I'll talk about later. And he came to me after 2 weeks and he said to me, Errol, you can't believe what happened. I said, well, tell me and then I will believe. He said, I listened to your lecture about sticking out an eighth of an inch. And then I read in the trades that the director of There Will Be Blood, which was an amazing movie, was giving a speech at Mull Richardson, which is the biggest prop house in LA. So I called up and asked if I could go, and they said, of course you can come. And I said, how many other Art Center students in photography were there? And he said, not one, just me. I said, wow, what happened? He said, the guy gave a great lecture, and then you jumped in my head, and I went up and introduced myself, and he immediately knew of Art Center and asked me, would I like to join him and 6 of his friends because they were going for dinner? He said, I started shaking. We went for dinner, and they kept talking to me about this and about that. And then this director said to me, what are you doing this summer? And the student said, I'm going to Art Center. He said, no, you're not. I'm shooting this movie, and I'm going to let you shadow me for 4 months, and I'll pay all your expenses. Ryan, he did, and that young man is now in the guild and is one of the more successful DPs. Now,
Wow.
Good, that's luck, right?
Yes.
No, my friend, that's not luck. That's purpose.
Yeah.
You see, success is not chance, it's choice.
Yeah.
We have the ability to do anything we want.
Yeah.
All we have to do is believe in ourselves.
Yeah.
Now, that takes hard work. I didn't say it's easy. Art Center is called the Marine Corps of Design Schools. You work 60 hours a week. And there's a reason.
Yeah.
Because you see, when Simone Biles goes to the Olympics and somebody says, gee, she makes it look easy, yeah. Except she spent 8,000 hours becoming an outlier, as Malcolm Gladwell said in his book.
Yeah.
And when Kobe Bryant, God rest his soul, would shoot a 30-foot three-pointer and somebody say, gee, it looks so easy. No, that's based on 10,000 hours of shooting. So the more we invest in ourselves, the higher the return.
Yes.
Make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. That's really good. I'm resonating with all of these things. My most immediate example, I know the show is for all of my video business owner friends. My wife is an abstract artist and is trying to grow that business, right? She's the perfect example because she has so much fun when she's painting. She gets in the zone and is just the best. And she's making these, very specific pieces for people. And then, I'm like, hey, you need to meet more interior designers. You need to do some shows. You need to work the business side of what you're doing because she's frustrated that, her Instagram's not growing. It's just the business side of what she's doing is.
You mention Instagram, I get acid reflux, okay? Awful. So where do you live? What state?
Michigan.
In Michigan. And the town in which you live, big, small?
Yeah, it's small town.
Okay. But somewhere around where you are in Michigan, there's a large city that has these art fairs once a month, once every 6 months, once every year.
Yeah.
They do in Beverly Hills, by the way. They do twice a year. And I've had probably 20 students go there and exhibit their work, and their work took off like a rocket ship.
Yeah.
You see, being the best kept secret, she's doing what she loves, but nobody knows her. So what we got to do is we got to get her to stick out an eighth of an inch. So I've said it twice. Now I'll explain. I graduate from USC with my MBA. I send out
Yeah.
my resumes. After 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, nothing. Not a phone call, not a peep. I send out another 100 resumes. Nothing. I think to myself, I'm done. I
Yeah.
go and I ask the dean, can I see the rest of the resumes? He shows them to me, and they're all the same thing. Horrible paper, name,
Yeah.
address, phone number. Remember, there's
Right.
no email. This is long before.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
education, career summary, and about how smart you are. So I went back to my apartment and I started banging on the wall. And my neighbor, who was an architect, came over and said, can you stop banging? And I told her the problem. She said, let me see your resume. She looked at it. She went, oh my God, you sent this out? This is disgusting. She said, come with me. She grabbed my arm, go to the car, and we drove to the most famous paper company in LA, Kelly Paper. And I walked in, and I have never seen such beautiful pieces of paper in my life. And the guy shows me Strathmore. I'd like to buy 6 pieces. He said, let me see if I've got an offcut because we don't sell it like that. And he comes back, you're in luck. So it's 6 pieces, 8.5 by 11. I said, no, sir. Please cut it 8.5 by 11 and 1/8. So he did. And then I went to a print shop and I said, I did this resume on my typewriter. Can we have the typeset? He said, of course. We send it to the Pacific Type House and they send us a plate. 2 weeks later, he calls me, says, we got your plate, come and watch. I went over. Oh my God, it was magnificent. But he said to me, young man, your paper's the wrong size, so I'm going to cut it. I said, sir, don't cut it, please. He said, but it's 1/8 of an inch too big. You can't put it in a number 10 envelope. I said, that's okay. I've already made envelopes that are 11 by 13. I'm going to put it in vertically. I said, but I have a question. USC's colors are cardinal and gold. Can you mix the cardinal color? He said, of course. It's a PMS sum number. So they mixed it, they put it back in the press, and they put on the 1/8 the USC crimson. I went home and I had 6 resumes, and I'm praying. I sent out 3. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. The phone rings. Hello, is this Errol Gerson? Yes, sir. He says, this is so-and-so from IBM. Do you know why I'm calling you? I said, yes, sir, I do. He said, tell me. I said, well, HR this morning gave you 60 resumes and you tapped them on your desk and one of them stuck out 1/8 of an inch and you pulled it out and it was mine. He said, yeah. And he said, I thought to myself, this kid must be smart. He said, we're sending you a ticket. Be here Monday morning. Ryan, I got 3 more invitations and I went to work for the largest accounting firm in the country. All because I stuck out 1/8 of an inch. I know we don't have resumes anymore. It's all electronic. But the concept of sticking out 1/8 of an inch is a philosophy.
Yeah, that's good. I would say, I mean, similar to my wife, I mean, this is the same, as an artist, right? So she is an artist to the core. Filmmakers, a lot of us get into this work and we realize that we can monetize it and like, wow, there's a business that'll pay me $5,000 for this or $2,000. Wow, this is cool. I'm going to do this. This is really fun. But at some point, as we're improving in our craft, and then we get into this world, where we're seeing other competitors and we're seeing their work, and it's like, gosh, similar to your story that you shared earlier, there is this belief that's like, okay, I can't, for me to stick out 1/8 of an inch, I don't want to because my work isn't as good. I don't have as much experience. Ryan has this really cool studio in Detroit. I don't have a studio. Ryan, he's got employees. I don't have a staff. It's just me, right? So there are all these beliefs that stop people from wanting to stick out because they don't think that they have, at the end of the day, what it takes.
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
When my children were growing up, every night after saying prayers, Dad said the following thing: you can do whatever you want in life. You can be whatever you want in life. I believe in you. It resonated with them. I didn't hear it growing up, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if these people will just embrace something that I call a gratitude attitude, everything will change. You see, Ryan, before I go to sleep each night, I take out a book. This is a Moleskine, beautiful book. And this is one of my 45-odd books that contains every night 3 things that I'm grateful for that day. I write down 3 things. When I wake up in the morning, first thing I do is I express gratitude for being alive because, at 79, the odds get a little bit lower. And then I read last night's gratitude. I've been doing it for 40 years. Catching me smile is not very hard because you see the word smile is an acronym. It's a small movement that improves your life every day. When's the last time you got in an elevator and said hello to people? Do you know the name of your postman? If you go to Starbucks, do you know the barista's name? All you got to do is change the way you look at things, and people start looking at you differently. Now, these people who don't believe in themselves, I understand that. So I had a film major. She was a director track, and she was also an illustrator, and she didn't know which way to go. She was very talented in both.
Yeah.
I said, what do you want to really do? She said, I want to help people. I said, okay. Meet me Saturday on the corner of Sunset Boulevard and Vermont. She said, what's there? I said, you'll see me. Don't worry. So Saturday at 1 o'clock, she met me, and she said, this is the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. I said, yeah, it's called Chalk LA. She said, come with me. And I told her to bring paper, blank paper, and markers. We went into the hospital, went up to the 4th floor, and there was a doctor friend of mine. He was an oncologist. And I said, hey, doc, this is the young lady I talked to you about. And I said to her, Sharon, this is Dr. So-and-so. You're going to go and teach the children your love of drawing. Bye-bye. And I turned around and I walked out. She came to class next Thursday. She said, you SOB. I said, yeah, that's right. What happened? She said, I walked inside, and the minute I walked in, the kids started applauding because the doctor told her I was coming. I said, did you stay an hour? She said, you know I didn't. I stayed 6 hours. I said, you going back next week? She said, yes. Ryan, she went back for 1 year. One of the children's father was an owner of a major ad agency in LA. He was visiting his daughter when my student came. The rest is history. You can call it luck, but I don't, because if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. You got to get in your head. You got to help more than you ask for. This morning on LinkedIn, which I go in on 6:30, I do use LinkedIn because I find it very professional, and there are really some terrific people that I've met on there. Yes. And there was a message from a young lady saying, my name is so-and-so, and I can make you rich. Click delete, gone. How about, hi, Errol. I've read a lot of your posts. I've really enjoyed them, especially this one. I'd love to talk to you, which is one I got a week ago. That young lady I'm talking to now, and I've agreed to mentor her, no charge, because the more we give, the more we get.
Yeah.
If you do that, Ryan, imposter syndrome, watch, it's gone.
Yes.
Doesn't exist. Smile. Small movement that improves your life every day. Somebody says no. What does no mean? Next opportunity. That's all it means.
Ugh.
I'm afraid. What are you afraid of? I'm afraid to show my work. Well, tell me about the word afraid? Oh, it comes from fear. I said, oh, fear. You mean false evidence that appears real? Wow, I never thought of it that way. Yeah, you see, if you think of false evidence that appears real and you get rid of the false evidence, what happens? You're finally empowered to achieve results. Same word. Take the word impossible and take the I am and move it to one side. It now reads I'm possible. You see, Ryan, if we change the way we look at things, the things we look at will change.
That was beautiful.
Doesn't happen
Errol,
overnight.
No, certainly. But time and time. For you, like, what was the moment in your life? You know, you had said earlier that you didn't have somebody putting you to bed telling you, I believe in you. And what happened in your life to get to that spot where you were able to start believing that about yourself? And
Well,
what happened?
unfortunately, at the age of 5, my folks split up,
And,
and I ended up being sent to a really awful boarding school
oh, wow.
where there was an enormous amount of abuse.
No,
And
yeah.
that shouldn't happen to a 5-year-old, but it did.
Yeah.
But at 11, my mom remarried and brought me home. And it wasn't until I was 19 years old
Oh,
and I started volunteering to work with abused kids at
Oh, wow.
the local synagogue that everything changed. I stepped out of myself, and
Yeah.
instead of being a victim, which is what I was now helping people. And I found out that the minute you help, everything changes. That
Yeah.
was the day the light bulb turned on. A year later, I left South Africa and came to America and went to a tiny junior college because I couldn't afford a big university.
Yeah.
But I met the dean of students, and he and I hit it off. And he said, "What do you want?" I said, "I want to go to USC Business School." He said, "Good. Get good grades, get involved in student government, get involved in being a mentor, help people." I got great grades. I was student body president for a year. I was very involved in helping the school raise money for scholarships. On the last day when I graduated, the dean called me in, and there was another man sitting there. And the dean said, "Errol, say hello to Dr. Himstreet." I said, "Hello, sir." He said, "Do you know who I am?" I said, "No, sir, I don't." He said, "I'm the dean of USC School of Business. Your dean wrote to us about you. Here," and he handed me an envelope. He said, "Open it." I opened the envelope. It said, "Dear Errol, on behalf of the University of Southern California Marshall School of Business, we are pleased to grant you a 2-year academic scholarship." I fell to my knees sobbing. But I earned it. And I'm lucky because I had an angel called Dr. Joe Kroll, who sadly died at age 55. But you see, Joe didn't change my life. I changed my life. All Joe did was showed me where true north was.
Wow. That's amazing. I think I've only cried on this out of 400 episodes, maybe like 6 times. So just add one more to the list. That is a beautiful story.
Well, I'm a very fortunate person, Ryan. Something watched over me. And I will never forget Joe as long as I live, because he allowed me the chance to actualize all of the things that I always wanted to be. So why do I teach? It's my only way I can say thank you to Joe and all the great teachers I ever had. So all my teaching is paying it forward. Now, in addition to that, I do a lot of consulting. with people in the motion picture industry, directors, producers, etc., graphic artists. I love coaching, and I'm their financial coach. And most of the time, I become their fractional chief financial officer and help them with all facets of business. So I tell them, I'll worry about the business. You worry about the craft. And that's a great partnership.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Errol, this is so good. Yeah, thank you for sharing all of this so far. Feel very grateful to just be in this virtual room together.
So am I. It's my honor to be here, my privilege.
I mean, you've already dropped all these nuggets. I'm just like, I don't know if you can outdo what you've already done. This is like you've given us a master class on how to really how to thrive. Just like I could keep asking questions, but yeah, what haven't I asked you yet that you're like, oh, Ryan, here's a good one.
Let me tell you what's going to happen in about a week from now.
Okay.
On LinkedIn, once a week, I'm going to post videos, and there are about 25 of them on the subjects that we've talked about. And people will be able to access them and use them in any way they want.
Amazing.
There are some astonishing stories in there.
Yeah.
Especially the one about gratitude. I'm not going to spoil it. I'm just going to let them access it. Just go to LinkedIn and type in my name and you'll see the videos. So
yeah.
The question you haven't asked me is, Errol, what's on your bucket list?
Yeah, there you go.
When you get to be 80, then there are things on the bucket list. And so for me, the first one, I used to play golf and I was very good at it. And as I got older, it got too hard. So I've never been to St. Andrews in Scotland.
Oh.
On my bucket list, I just want to walk on the first tee and just touch the ground, and that will be a great day. There is a Buddhist monk who lives in France called Thich Nhat Hanh, and I have read all of Thich's work, and he runs a place called the Plum Garden, and I'm going to endeavor to try and arrange to go there just to meet him, because I have read everything he has written. I'm not a Buddhist. I am Jewish by faith, but it's astonishing the amount of similarity there is between our two faith belief systems.
Yeah.
The things he taught me are life lessons. So one of the things I am is a lifelong learner. And people who are successful are lifelong learners. Every day I get up at 6:30, and after expressing my gratitude and my prayers, I read 30 pages of a book I haven't read before. In 1 month, can you imagine? In 1 year, can you imagine? So, is there one book that I would strongly recommend to people? The answer is yes. And is written by a man who became my mentor. His name is Dr. Stephen Covey, Covey, and he wrote the great book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. After reading his book, I wrote to him and asked him if I could attend his seminar, but I was a young graduate and didn't have a lot of money, and he invited me with no fee, and I spent a week in Provo, Utah, learning from one of the greatest teachers I ever met. And he didn't change my life. I changed my life. He just provided me the WD-40.
Oh, that's a fantastic recommendation. And I've been listening to audiobooks for, I think, the past 15 or 16 years, something like that. And so 1 book a month, so add up all the hours and all the books. Man, I've been able to listen to so many books that have piled up on my, I'm going to read that someday. And I just couldn't get to it. And I'm like, I could actually, I'm driving here or there. Let me just listen while I'm driving. And so I've been able to listen to so many books, and I've listened to so many incredible business books over the year. And it wasn't until, I don't know, 4 months ago that I finally was able to read that Stephen Covey book, the 7 Habits book. And I was like, I think 90% of the other books that I've read, they've all been based around that book.
Yes, sir. And what's the number one lesson that Stephen taught? Seek first to understand.
To understand.
And then be understood.
Yeah.
You never get angry. You want anger management to be fixed? Seek first to understand and then be understood. Yeah. When someone speaks to you, look at them. Don't think about a response. Listen to them. Be involved in what they're saying. This is a beautiful human being sharing something with you. Have the respect to listen. You watch newscasters on CNN and other places. These reporters, you can see their mouths moving. They haven't even heard, but they're ready to respond. Shame on them.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see, the other important book is Carl Rogers' book, Gateways and Barriers to Communication. He was the father of modern psychology, Carl Rogers. And I studied him at USC. I took a lot of classes outside of the business school, in the School of Psychology and the School of Philosophy. That's where I learned the love of people like René Descartes, the great French existentialist, who said, cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. What more do we need to know? Thinking, what a beautiful process. Should I do this or should I do that? If I do this, what might happen? If that happens, should I do that? Critical thinking. That's how people challenge themselves, because, Ryan, if it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you.
Yeah.
Change is inevitable. Change, another acronym. Control how you accept newness, growth, and excitement. Change. You see, acronyms are incredible, because once we deconstruct a word, we know its implicit real meaning. I love taking words and deconstructing them because there's so much to learn.
Yeah, yeah. I can tell that you love that.
Well, your audience are not videographers, or they are storytellers. And if we look back in history, the most important people are storytellers.
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg is a storyteller. Ron Howard is a storyteller. That's what your listeners are. You're telling stories. When you create these videos, you're leaving an indelible imprint on people, because those videos they create are the memories of the heart. They always stay inside you.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's one of the reasons why I still do this. I do this work, right? This isn't my main source of business, making films and stories for our clients but I know the importance of what, as filmmakers and storytellers, that we have. And if I can empower my, group, my community of video business owners to see the value in what they can do, and to believe in themselves that they can do it. And if I can provide insights, tips, resources, people like you along the way to help them move forward, it's very fulfilling for me.
Yeah, see, if one of your clients was at a charity dinner and somebody turned to him or her and said, "What do you do?" And he said, "I'm a videographer," boring. So what should he say? So the person turns to him and says, or her, "What do you do?" And you say, "Oh, I'm a storyteller. I just happen to use imagery as my tool." Wow. Who do you do it for? People like you. Tell me, what do you do, sir? Well, I run this company that makes, this product. Said, how much video imagery storytelling do you do? Because your brand is all about story. Huh? We just got a client, rolled another one in.
That was perfect. That's like,
They're storytellers. And storytellers are gifted people.
mm,
They
yeah,
have a gift.
yeah,
Not everybody has it.
yeah,
Putting it on through a camera, the red camera, whatever camera, that's just technology. Okay?
yeah, yeah,
It's that incredible ability that
yeah,
the people who watch this have to tell stories, to weave thoughts, to impact people. Your clients change lives.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
They should read a
Wow.
book called The Giving Tree.
Mm,
Tell them to look
little
it up.
shell. Yeah.
Shel Silverstein, one of the
Yep.
greatest quote unquote children's stories of all time. It's not a
Yeah.
children's story at all. Look up The Giving Tree. The tears will roll down your eyes.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say we can't reading that to our kid. Reading that to our kids, we can't get through the end without just like, oh my gosh, it's so powerful.
Yeah.
So beautiful. Errol, this is gonna go down in history as one of my favorite interviews. Really, really, I am just delighted. So grateful. How can people, obviously LinkedIn, where else can people, is that the best place for people to connect with you if they're
Yes.
interested in
Yep.
coaching or anything like that?
Yes, through LinkedIn, absolutely.
All right. Well, I'm going to link to them. Any other places that they should look, or is that's the best?
No, that's it's the only quote social media that I use.
I heard you're excited about maybe starting an Instagram channel, though.
And not going to happen. It's not for me.
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
I understand. It's just not for me.
Not for me. Yeah. Well, Errol, I am so grateful. This is truly a delight. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your passion and your gift and your story. And thank you for your belief in those that you are spending time with and mentoring. You are making a difference. And I just want to say thank you
for inviting me. And thank you to all of your listeners. And I wish them everything they wish themselves.
Thanks for hanging with me on this episode. If you liked it, leave a comment in the video below. No, below the video, wherever you can leave a comment. Let me know what your big takeaway was. If there's something you're going to start doing, stop doing. If you just had an aha moment, seriously, reach out to Errol if this was inspiring for you. Wow, just amazing. And yeah, let me know if there's any way I can help you. Feel free to shoot me an email as well, ryan@studiosherpas.com. You got this, my friend. Running a business is tough. It's hard work, but it is worth it. You have what it takes. I want to be here and help you however I can. So with that, keep climbing, and I'll see you on next week's episode. Bye for now.